Do you have idols? Do you know what your idols are in your life? If you could trace all of your character deficiencies, I think you could trace it back to an idol in your heart, something that you are protecting that is not worth your time protecting, something that you have replaced Jesus Christ on the throne of your heart with. Everyone in this room would probably say, I worship God, I don't worship idols. And yet so often we get thrown off day to day protecting things, admiring things, holding things with value that have no value compared to the God of glory. And if you're not careful, it can take precedence over the King of glory. John Calvin said that our hearts are like an idol factory. You wake up every day and it just starts churning out idols. Listen, here's some idols that I want to challenge you with. If you worship your identity, you will never feel like you measure up, and your pride will take you over as you constantly think about yourself. Isn't it so true that we can get so wrapped up in our identity, how we look, how we dress, what others think about us, and so we go through life trying to impress people, and we think about ourselves constantly, and it can take us over. Here's another one. If you worship your job, your life will be consumed with doing rather than being. You will continually elevate what you do rather than who you are in Christ. What has Christ said that you are? And yet so often we spend our life and our days consumed by what we do or who we can become. You will become an unsatisfied achiever rather than trusting Jesus to be the achiever that you need. And I'll tell you what, I have that unsatisfied achiever thing going on in me sometimes. I can be so caught up in like, I got to do this, I got to accomplish this, I got to push this forward, and it can throw me out of whack, and it can cause me to get grumpy, and it can cause me to complain because I'm trying to achieve something rather than remembering what Jesus has already achieved in this world. And it can be a healthy thing to be an unsatisfied achiever in what Christ has called you to, only if you are relying every single day on what has already been done at the cross. Because when you have your heart and your focus anchored in Jesus as the achiever, oh my goodness, it sets everything into motion, and you begin to realize that He will carry you through. He will give you the strength to accomplish all that you need to accomplish. He will provide for you in ways that you could have never imagined. If you worship entertainment, you will become entitled and miss the great blessings that this life affords. I think that this is so easy for our next generation. My wife and I have been talking about this even with our own kids, that it can be so easy to worship the next thing, the next big thing. And we're complaining about how are we going to get to the next big thing when we're in the big thing right now, and we're missing the blessings of the big thing because we have fear of missing out on the next thing, and that creates entitlement in our lives, and that is idolatry. Here's another one. If you worship sex, you'll end up looking for it in all the wrong places, and you will absolutely wreck your life. You will wreck your testimony. You will wreck your ministry. You will wreck your relationships and your marriage if you worship the wonderful, glorious, good gift that God has given us in sex. Rather than enjoy it within the parameters of the giver, brokenness and heartache will follow you all the days of your life on this earth. If you worship your family, families are a great thing, aren't they? What a great thing to protect. We're celebrating it even today. This is a heavy message on Mother's Day, I'm just realizing. But if you worship your family, you will spend yourself trying to be their God, their sustainer, their provider, and their strong tower, and you will undoubtedly disappoint. You will prioritize things that are less important than God and His Word so that you can satisfy the desires of your family, and only God is meant to do that in their lives. But it can be easy to get caught up. We could go on and on identifying idols. I don't know what your idol would be. Maybe it's just your downtime at the end of the day. Maybe it's just your TV time as you want to watch the NBA Finals. Maybe it's just your scrolling on your phone time at the end of the day. Maybe it's just having a clean space and having a house that's decluttered and kind of put together. All of those things can become idols in our lives, and we as people are notorious for worshiping the gifts rather than the giver. And those who make idols and trust in idols become like their idols, and we must see the foolish confusion that our idolatry affords. The chaos in Ephesus that day may resemble the chaos in your life because you've become like one of your idols that we've talked about today.